In this section, we're going to do the level design. We're going to start to create each level of the game. We're going to make sure to add in some items and blocks for the player to interact with. We're also going to go ahead and add some enemies to give a challenge to the player as they make their way to the winning area. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, let's go ahead and get started creating each level design. So before we start adding some things into our levels, I think we should add one specific thing at the end of our level to really tell the player we got to the end of the level. So what I'm going to do is create a little flag animation. So let's do that real quick. Right click on level 1, add child node, and let's simply use just a node 2D for the base of it. Let's just call it flag. And then let's go ahead, right click on it, add child node, and we're going to add a simple animated sprite 2D. And we're just going to give this a nice little flag animation. So let's select it. Let's go ahead, animation, new sprite frames. And then we're going to give it a default and then make sure you have the autoplay on load selected. Go ahead into here and the flag should be in the sprite tiles. So go ahead, select that real quick, open that. Make sure it's sliced correctly, and I think it's going to be 64 by 64. If not, it might be 16 by 16. Let's try 64 first. That looks correct to me. Then you can go ahead and choose your flag. I'm going to use just a little red flag, and I'm going to select both of these here. Add frames. Then there's our little flag. I'm going to go ahead, take the entire node, bring it on over, and I want to make these a little taller. I want to give it a little base, and we can easily do that by right-clicking on Animated Sprite 2D, add child node, and let's go ahead and just give it a Sprite 2D. Then we'll go ahead, drag and drop in the base of the flag, which is in our art, get a new platformer pack, sprites, and then tiles, and then locate it in default. Should be towards the bottom somewhere. There we go, flag off. Take that, drag and drop it. And then we'll just move this down just a bit so it's sticking up a little bit. And I also want to go ahead and make sure this is behind that one so it looks like it's just extending it, which we can easily do by selecting that, going to, I think, visibility, show behind parent, make sure that's checked, and there you go. All right, nice. Make sure you have it correctly positioned. And again, if there's these little marks here and you want that to be a little more pixel perfect, you can go ahead into the texture of each one and set both to nearest. So we'll do that one nearest, and we'll also set this one, same thing, filter nearest. There we go. And that gets rid of the little lines around it. Okay, so let's go ahead and create another one also. So I'm gonna have one, let's put it a little bit more to the left, because I want two of them basically, and the player will go in the middle. So we'll put one like right here, Control D, and then we'll also put another one over here. And we'll adjust it once we get it created fully, and then we can test it out. So I'm going to move that down just a bit to right about, yep, let's do like, so it's resting on it right there. Nice. All right, and we'll save that, Control S. Make sure though this is above the player so it's behind him. There we go. Save that real quick. Let's start the current game. And we're going to go all the way to the end and just make sure the positioning is correct. So let's take our player, go to the end of the game where the win area is. Just make our way there. One more of these. And let's see. I like it. The positioning's great. Again, you can always adjust this if you want, but this will help signify that the player got to the end of the level. All right, I might move it a little bit more to the right just to be a little bit more centered. Again, it's up to you if you want to do it more or less. So far, I think that'll be okay. Let's also make this its own scene though, so we can drag and drop it into the other levels. So I'm going to go ahead, right click, save branch as scene, and then put it in the components folder. Make sure you're in there, save that. Then we can close all this up here. We don't need the art folder open right now. All right, so we have the flags here in level 1. Let's also put those flags inside each other level. So we'll save level 1. Let's open up the other levels, level 2. Zoom out a bit, close these up here. Let's take our flag again in the components, drag and drop it into level 2. Just make sure it's above the player node. and go ahead, position it correctly like we did with the other one. We can test it out as well. So I'm going to position it like there, maybe up a little bit more, and then over to the right. And I think that should be okay. Save that there. Let's test this out. Make sure the positioning is correct. Also, just make sure we can get all the way over there. Whoops. Try it again. I think this is the level. We're going to have that little power up though, so we can get around these things easier. Let's keep going until we get to the end of the level. Just make sure that flag positioning is correct. All right, I might move it a little bit more to the left. Let's go ahead a little bit more to the left. That should be okay. Then we need the last one for level 3. Let's go ahead, open up level 3. And then towards the end over here, we're going to put the flag. So let's go ahead, locate the flag in components, drag and drop it into level 3. We can close the map. Go ahead, make sure it is positioned correctly. I'm going to move it down a bit and then up a bit so it's resting perfectly. And let's see how that looks. Save that. Let's go ahead, make sure it's above the player. Save again. Let's start it. Make sure our player can get all the way across. There we go. Yep, we'll move it a little bit more to the left so it's centered a little better. Just a little bit. Nice. And again, you can always adjust this later if you want to, but I think these look pretty good for helping showcase where the end of the level is. All right, let's close these out. Save what we got and go back to the level 1 for now. All right, now let's go ahead and get started adding some things into each level. So we have all the components for every single item we want in here. I'm going to use the pointer tool for a second. Zoom in a bit. Let's go ahead and add all the coins first. So what we're going to do is create a node to hold all the coins just to help keep things more organized. So we'll right click, add child node. We're going to create a node 2D. Simply call this coins. All right, then let's go ahead, locate the components, locate the coins.tscn, drag and drop it into the coins node. And again, we want to make sure everything is above the player. So I'm going to take the player, put it down there, just to make sure they are in front of it. All right, so for the coins, we have our first coin right here. I'm going to go ahead and just line this up. And remember, you can always add however many you want and customize the map in whichever way you want to. I'm just going to add some things to give it a little bit more life. So let's add like 4 coins up here and relatively enough to keep it centered. So I'm going to go ahead and just move each about there. Perfect. Let's add some more up here as well. I'm going to take our 4th coin. Let's put it like relatively the same height. Let's go ahead, add one like here, here, and then one more. We'll add like 3 coins up here. And then, of course, center it up a bit. Make sure it matches the height we have. I think this is a little tall. Overall, though, I like that. Maybe a little less. Nice. All right, and then we can add like 2 more, 3 more over there. I'm just going to Control D, actually. And just add a couple more like right over here. And again, I'm going to make sure we're adding it in the correct height. Right about there. Awesome. So those are going to be our coins. Again, you can always add as many as you want. I just want something simple for now. So now let's go ahead and add the blocks. So I'm going to right click, add child node, node 2D, name this blocks. Let's go ahead, move this on up. Let's go ahead and add some blocks in here. For level 1, I'm not going to have the power-up block. I'm just going to have the basic blocks. So let's go ahead and locate the block. Should be in here somewhere. Basic block. Drag and drop it in. And then let's go ahead and add all the blocks. I want to make it about this high. Make sure it's not going to block the player. I want to make it just high enough so the player can go underneath it. Let's do one like right there. Control D. Move one over about the same distance. Let's do another one like right there. Nice. Again, we can always customize this more later. I'm going to select both of these, Control D, and just move the same thing over here. About the same distance as the other one. I might remove that other coin just so it doesn't look like that. Let's select that coin. Delete it. Nice. All right. Now we can add some enemies. Let's go ahead. Let's right click, level 1, node 2D. Change this to enemies, or just enemy. We'll do enemies. And then go ahead, put it above the player. There we go. Let's add some enemies in here. I'm gonna do the starting enemies, which is just gonna be the ones that go up and down. Let's locate the spike one. There we go, spike enemy. Let's take our spike enemy and let's put it like right here. And what we want to do is double check we have that endpoint. Let's see if we added that, because if we did, we do not want it, because we want to be able to put it basically wherever we want. So remember, it's lowercase end and then capital P point. So I'm actually going to remove that right there, because what we're going to do is add it in, just like how we're going to do it with the slimes. Go back to level 1. Then we're going to right click on here, add child node, add a node 2D. Simply call it that same name, end point, capital P. And then all we're going to do is just move it down right about here. Nice. And then I'm going to take that same spike enemy, Control D, and just move another one like over here. Nice. All right, looks good there. I like those. Now let's add some slime enemies. So let's go ahead, right click, or actually better yet, we'll drag and drop. Let's locate the basic slimes first. So let's locate basic slime, drag and drop onto enemies. Take a basic slime, and let's put one like right here. And what I'm gonna do is go ahead, add child node, node 2D, end lowercase, capital P point. And what we're gonna do is just go ahead and I'm gonna put like, let's go like right here. I'm also gonna move down a bit. Let's go ahead, take the basic slime, Control D. I'm gonna put another one over here. Let's go like right there. And let's see, we could put some stronger slimes over here. Let's do that. Let's locate strong slime, drag and drop in enemies. Take that strong slime. I'm gonna put one like right here. And then of course we need the endpoint. Add child node, node 2D, lowercase end, capital P point. Then let's go ahead, move this on over. Let's put it like right here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and actually take the same thing, Control D. I'm gonna move another one like right here. Nice and close to it. Perfect. All right, awesome. Again, you can always add more in here if you want to, but I think this will be okay. I might move this purple slime just a little bit more over here, just so we can jump on it. So let's take that basic slime 2 or 1. I'm just gonna move it like right here. Nice. But with that, we should be set. Let's go ahead, zoom out a bit, go to pointer tool, close things up, save what we got. All right, let's test things out. So let's go ahead, start current scene. Let's make sure everything's working correctly. So let's go ahead. Looks like our purple slimes are getting stuck. We can fix that in just a bit. Let's see, the spike enemy has a little bit of a pixel error. We know how to fix that though. Let's make sure we can attack these guys. Oops, looks like they're also having an issue with the animation and the pixel. No worries, we can fix that. Let's make sure we can get to the end of the level though and at least win the game, which we can. Nice. All right, let's fix those little bugs. Starting off with the purple slimes. So I think the issue here is because we did not set the endpoint correctly on the same Y. So what's happening is the slime is getting all the way to it, but it's not actually running into it. So we need to go into each of those, basic slime. Select each endpoint and make sure we set the position of the Y to 0 for each. Another thing to make sure, I don't think we're going to have a problem with it, is make sure your slimes are on the ground completely, okay? You might have to play around with that, but what we don't want to happen is have our slime up high, which our endpoint will be here, and of course our slime has gravity, so it can't get to that spot. You want to make sure the slime is placed perfectly on the ground, similar to how I did it here, a little bit on the black, just like that, okay? With that, it should fix the issue. Now, as for the pixel issue with our spike, go ahead, select the spike enemy, select the animated sprite 2D, go to the texture and set that filter from inherit to nearest, and that should fix that issue. All right. Then of course we need to go into our red slimes and fix the little animation error. Super easy. Go ahead, open up one of the red slimes animation. Should be over here inside of its animated sprite 2D. Go ahead onto its animation player, select the hurting animation, and you'll see what's happening here. Because this is not looping, it's just going to go ahead and play and stop like that. But we necessarily don't want it to stop like that. We want it to go back to its normal color. So an easy way we can do that is go ahead, extend the current animation from 0.4 to 0.6. Change where we currently are to 0.6. And then as it gets to 0.6, we'll fade out the hurting animation. So go ahead, select the color rect, select the color, simply decrease the A value all the way, and then go ahead and save that there. So then if you play the animation, what will happen is it'll flash and then go back to normal every time it's hit. Let's go ahead and save what we got there. Back to level 1. Let's test things out again. I'm going to close up there. Go ahead, hit play. All right, purple slime's moving correctly. Nice. Let's make sure we can hurt them as well. We want to make sure the animation and our player jumps, which we do. Awesome. Looks like the pixel is fixed for the spike. Let's make sure the animation is fixed for the strong slimes, which it looks like it is. Nice. Make sure we can hurt them. Yep. And then, of course, get to the end of the game, just like that. Perfect. Close out there. Let's go ahead, close out here. Let's close the spike and also the strong slime. Select into our next level, which is going to be level 2. Let's back out here for a second. Save what we got for now. All right, let's get started designing the level 2. So let's go ahead and add a couple things in here. I'm going to start off adding some coins. So right click on level 2. Let's create a main node to hold all the coins. I'm going to go ahead, call this coins. Go ahead, locate the coins component. Drag and drop it into coins. And then we'll go ahead and set the coins where we want them. I'm going to put one like right there. Let's do just a couple more around. Yeah, we'll do one there. And then like one more over here, okay? Again, you can always customize this however you want, but I'm going to keep it like this for now. So we have our coins. I'm also going to go ahead, add child node. Let's do another one for blocks. Let's go ahead, blocks. And I'm really only going to add one block in here, which is going to be our power-up block. Let's go ahead and locate our power block, drag and drop it into here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to put it kind of right here. This is going to be the power-up, of course, that makes our player jump higher and farther and overall speed increase. This will kind of help them in this kind of level because it's a little more difficult. You have to navigate jumping around. So I'm going to have one block here. Maybe I'll also add actually one more block to help the player get to the other side because that's a pretty big jump. Let's go ahead, add a basic block. And then I'm going to put it right over here just so the player can get a little boost. I'm going to actually add 2 just to help them out. Okay, just like that. Nice. Again, you can always put more. I'm going to leave as is though. Let's go ahead now add some enemies, and I think it'll be really cool to add the bee enemies in these area. So let's go ahead, right click, add child node, add a node 2D. Let's go ahead, do enemies here. Locate the bee enemy, drag and drop, and let's add those enemies. I'm going to put one like right here, and let's add another like over here, and then maybe one more on another platform like right there as well. Okay, nice. And if you wanted to add some slimes in here, you could. That's up to you. I might add at least one slime here and maybe another one over here. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to use the basic slime for this. So drag and drop basic slime. Let's put them like right here. Make sure we're putting it on the correct location. And yep, I'm going to go like right there. And then of course we need the endpoint, so right click on them, add child node, node 2D, endpoint. Make sure the Y value though is the same so we don't have that same issue like before. So just move it just like that, okay? Nice. And I think I'm gonna keep it. All right. Let's go ahead and save what we got here. Let's jump in, make sure it's working. So our player's here, we can collect that. Looks like our slime is not here though. We'll have to figure out where it went. But let's see if the B enemies follow us. Yes, they do. We can also defeat them, nice. Let's make sure we can get to the end of the level. Hopefully we can make it. We have a lot of enemies here, which we can, nice. Let's get to the end, make sure we can walk on the blocks, which we can, nice. And there we go, looks great. All right, let's close out of there. Let's see what's going on with our slime though. So our slime is here. I think I know the issue actually. It's because the slime is only going to be for the layer 2 and the layer 2 mask, okay? So what we need to do is go inside of our map, locate the collisions, let's see, the one-way static body. Go ahead and make sure we have both those selected there, which we do, nice. I want to actually make sure our slime is on top of it though, which they are not. So I think what's happening is they're just falling through because they're already inside of it. So what we got to do is go ahead, select our slime, and just move it up a bit. Just make sure it's resting on top. Save that change. Go ahead, play. Let's make sure we see everything correctly. There's our slime now, awesome. And then let's just make sure we can attack it, which we can, and there we go. All right, looking great. Let's close out of there, close up here, and zoom out a bit. Let's close up here, save what we got. All right, and then the last thing, of course, is design the level 3. Now we're not going to add too much in here because, of course, we're going to have our mini boss battle here, and we're also going to add some doors and then, of course, the boss itself. But we could add some coins at the end just to reward the player. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, right-click, add child node, node 2D, change this to coins, and we're going to go ahead, select components, coins, drag and drop the first one, and just go ahead, leave some out here as a reward for the player. I'm going to just add a couple. Let's add like 4 coins. Nice. All right. We also could maybe give our player a little power up to help them in the boss battle. So I'm actually going to do that. Let's right click, add child node, node 2D. We know it's a block, so I'm going to go ahead, blocks, and then go ahead, locate the power up block, which should be power block, drag and drop it into here. And then I'm simply going to just put it like right here so the player can collect it. Let's go ahead, save what we got here. Let's go ahead, make sure the player is above everything. Save that. I'm not sure if we did that also for level 2. Make sure we did that. Just move the player above. There we go. Save those changes. All right, let's test out level 3. Just make sure we can collect the power up and then of course collect the coins. So we got our power up here. We'll eventually fight the boss battle in here. And then of course we collect some coins and win the game. Nice. Let's close out there. Close up here. Let's go ahead, close that there. Save what we got, and we're looking good.